Hello, folks. This is your captain speaking. I've just gotten word of a massive snowstorm brewing right in our path. I groaned, shutting my laptop, and began packing up my things. I knew this drill, and I knew what was going to happen. All electronics needed to be put away, all chairs needed to be upright, and all trays needed to be in the correct position. Which was distressing because I just ordered my hot towel and a fine glass of wine. This snowstorm is grounding all flights to their nearest airports, the captain said. As it stands now, Wichita, Kansas is our current destination. Of course this would happen. Of all the days for this to occur, it had to happen just before the biggest business meeting of the year. I'd been hard at work trying to get some last-minute pieces put together for the presentation that would alter the course of my company's future, and it was about to be obliterated by some snowflakes. When you disembark the plane, please head to the counter to rearrange your flight schedule. I apologize for this inconvenience, but safety comes first. Please move your seats into the upright position, fold up your trays, and buckle your seatbelts. Wichita, Kansas? Was this pilot kidding? That was easily a 10-hour drive from my final destination, and that was without the snow. My entire body tightened as the plane started descending, and suddenly I forgot about the glass of wine and the hot towel. Flying first class got you some benefits, but apparently arriving at your final destination wasn't one of them.
I could not believe this man actually said yes. I was beyond relieved he was going to let me ride with him to Minnesota. Life had been throwing me curveball after curveball for the last few months, and I was almost ready to melt into a puddle on the floor. I gathered up my things and tried to keep up with him, but his long stride put him farther and farther ahead of me. His shoulders were stiff and his jaw was tense. His hand was white-knuckling the bag he was carrying. He was uptight, to say the least, and way too serious for his own good. I followed him as quickly as I could while he led us to the car, and I couldn't help but giggle as he opened the trunk. The car itself was luxurious, but the way he simply slid his stuff into the trunk was telling of the way he lived his life. Everything had a place, and every action had a purpose. I came around behind him and slung my things in, toppling one of his bags over before I reached to close the trunk. "Maybe we could try being a bit easier with things," he said. His voice was dark, smooth, but dark. He had jet black hair and blue eyes that sang a different tune from the rest of his body. They sparkled, even in the dimness of the snowstorm threatening to swallow us whole, and I watched him scoot my things off to the side before he propped his bag back up. "Would you like a prop to make sure your things don't slide around?" I asked, grinning. He scoffed and shook his head. "Well, Colin, would you like me to drive? I happen to be an excellent driver in the snow." He turned his gaze toward me, and I could tell he wasn't amused. He reached up with his long arm and shut the trunk before wrapping around to the driver's side of the car. I shook my head at him and grinned, taking in how rigid he was in his everyday life. "I'll take that as a no," I said.